On this channel, and really every channel in the genre, we talked about Walgreens and everything that they were doing with store closures and layoffs. But now we have even more unfortunate news from one of their competitors, I would say, and that is from CVS Health. Where I'm from, in Florida, on every corner, there's basically a Starbucks, and then there's either a Walgreens or a CVS. So two big competitors, and even though Walgreens and their struggles has been well documented, it's been a couple of days and I haven't really seen any videos. I'm sure somebody's talking about it, but really any videos on CVS and the layoffs that they have upcoming. So that's what I want to talk with you about today. Our first article today is from WPRI.com, and the headline is CVS laying off nearly 3K employees. And as always, all the articles I mentioned are listed down in the description below, so you can read the full thing for yourself. I'm just going to go over the highlights and how it pertains to our conversation today. The article goes on to say that it's reporting out of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. CVS Health is laying off nearly 3,000 employees nationwide, a company spokesperson confirmed Monday. CVS spokesperson Mike DeAngelis said the Woonsocket-based pharmacy giant will be eliminating 2,900 jobs, citing continued disruption, regulatory pressures, and evolving customer needs and expectations. We didn't immediately disclose how many of the job cuts will happen in Rhode Island, but company officials said they plan to file a layoff notice with the state next week, which is only required when an employer is firing 50 or more employees. It is critical that we remain competitive and operate at peak performance, DeAngelis explained. And as we talked about previously, at least there's a silver lining of the majority of companies having to file warn notices because they're going to lay off more than 50 employees. So even though you don't know if it's in your department, you're not going to know if it's you, at least it gives you a little bit of a writing on the wall situation where you can analyze, hey, do I think I'm doing well here? Like, how are my performance reviews doing? Am I someone who makes more money than maybe more of my peers? Do I have a bunch of experience? And does that mean that I'm getting paid a lot more than other people? Do I see other departments closing down? Is this something where I think my job, if I'm being honest, could be easily shipped off to India or Mexico? So those are the kind of questions you can ask yourself once you see that there's a warn notice for your organization. The article goes on to say that it's critical that we remain competitive and operate at peak performance. DeAngelis said the layoffs make up 1% of the company's overall workforce, and it will be primarily corporate roles that are cut. And this is where we'll see in the comment section, people will say, oh, it's only 1% of the total workforce, right? Similar to PricewaterhouseCoopers. 1,800 people lost or will lose their jobs, their livelihood, lose the ability to put food on the table. And I don't think that we could be so insensitive just to say that, oh, it's only 1%, it's only 0.5%. It doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're not doing your job well, if you're taking advantage of things, if you really, maybe lied on your resume and you can't deliver the goodies when it comes time to do your actual job, okay, that person should be laid off. Or if it's like a struggling small business and they just say, hey, we're just not getting the customers we used to, okay, that makes sense. But for these big corporations to go on all these hiring sprees and then all of a sudden decide that they have too many people, that's not okay. And then I don't know the situation with CVS, but we've looked at other companies previously in the past couple of weeks, and they're buying other companies, they're investing in other areas, and it just seems like if you went through this whole process of going through and hiring people, there should be somewhere else that these people can go. At least in Walgreens, the official corporate release said that they're going to be transferring folks to other branches at least. And then the article goes on to say that the reductions will not impact frontline jobs in our stores, pharmacies, and distribution centers. DeAngelis said the layoffs are part of a $2 billion cost-saving initiative designed to not only reduce expenses, but also invest in technologies to enhance efficiencies and workflows. The cuts come as the business has been facing business challenges. And this is one of those situations where maybe 10 years ago or something like that, you could go from CVS headquarters to Walgreens headquarters. But with Walgreens doing their layoffs and doing their downsizing, I mean, there's less opportunities in the market for you to go to the major competitor. And I don't know who the third and fourth biggest pharmacy is. If you do, please let me know down in the comments. But yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the layoffs these days. There's just so many of them that it just becomes very difficult to get a brand new job if everyone in a certain industry, or at least the top performers or the top dogs, if you will, are all doing layoffs. When you get laid off, I mean, where are you supposed to go? If every company around you is also doing layoffs, there's only going to be so many options for you to take your services and your skills. DeAngelis also said that before taking this step, we prioritized finding cost savings everywhere we could, including closing open job postings. DeAngelis explained, decisions on which positions to eliminate were extremely difficult and do not diminish the value that impacted colleagues have brought to the company. And at least they're saying the right thing, right? Because we've seen where employers and companies have said that there are people who are underperforming, they're not doing a great job, at least on record publicly. They're saying that, this has nothing to do with the colleagues, they brought value to the company, and they're also saying that they tried other means of cost cutting, right? I think in every video I'll say there's two different ways to improve your bottom line. One is by making more money, and one is by lowering your cost. And these companies are really, really struggling in 2024 to make more money. So it's left them with the only recourse being to do layoffs or whatever they can to cut costs. DeAngelis said the vast majority of impacted employees will be notified this week, although he stressed that the layoffs are company-wide and not isolated to a single corporate office. The spokesperson said the company plans to file a worker adjustment and retraining notification, or WARN notice, with the state next week. The WARN notice is a federal law that requires employers of 100 or more full-time workers to give the state 60 days advance notice of mass layoffs. Companies must comply if they're planning to close or discontinue a facility of more than 50 workers, lay off between 50 and 499 workers if that number represents at least 33% of the company's workforce, or lay off 500 or more workers at a single site. So there are ways around that. We see the different loopholes, but we're also seeing a lot of WARN notices, and that's what we go over on the channel a lot, kind of giving people the heads up on organizations, especially ones that they may be currently working for, that are about to do mass layoffs. We are committed to supporting these colleagues who will receive severance pay and benefits, including access to outplacement services, DeAngelis said. We remain focused on our mission, continuing to provide the exceptional care and support our patients, members, clients, and customers deserve and depend on. The layoffs come a year after CVS slashed 5,000 jobs to reduce expenses. So between the WARN notice that is about to be filed and last year's slash of 5,000 jobs, if you're not preparing a backup plan and you work at CVS in corporate, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not saying that you're going to easily find a brand new job. I'm not saying that it's going to be easy, but if you're not at least going out there, networking, applying, trying to figure out where you could go, if the ish hits the fan, then come on, man. I mean, there's signs after sign after sign, and unfortunately, you can't say that this came from out of nowhere and you were surprised if you're one of the 2,900 that's let go, because we're seeing all signs pointing towards the possibility that if you're in CVS Health Corporate, you could be losing your job relatively soon. Our next article is from payments.com without the vowels, and the headline is CVS cuts 2,900 jobs amid hedge fund pressure. And this article is from September 30th, 2024. CVS Health is reportedly meeting with a top investor on ways to enhance its business. The pharmacy healthcare chain was set to meet Monday, September 30th, with hedge fund Glenview Capital Management, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing sources with knowledge of the matter. According to the Wall Street Journal, the meeting comes as investors seem to be growing restless with CVS, whose shares have fallen 24% this year. A source told the newspaper that Glenview's founder, Larry Robbins, has a major position in CVS, where it accounts for $700 million of the $2.5 billion hedge fund. In all, Glenview owns 1% of CVS. Meanwhile, the report added, CVS told employees Monday it would undertake layoffs. Citing an internal memo, the Wall Street Journal said the cuts represent less than 1% of CVS's workforce, or 2,900 jobs, primarily in corporate roles. The layoffs will not impact frontline jobs in our stores, pharmacies, and distribution centers, a spokesperson said. Last month, CVS Health reported 2.6% increase in revenues, as well as mixed results among the company's three business segments. The health care benefit segment, which provides insured and self-insured medical, pharmacy, dental, and behavioral health products and services, saw its revenues climb 21.4% year over year, a change the company attributed to growth in its Medicare and commercial product lines. The pharmacy and consumer wellness segment, which dispenses prescriptions and sells health and wellness products and general merchandise, saw its revenues climb 3.7% thanks to increased prescription volume. And the health services segment, which provides pharmacy benefit management solutions, healthcare services, and provider enablement solutions, reported an 8.8% drop in revenue due to the loss of a large client and continued pharmacy client price improvements. In other healthcare news, Payments wrote last week about the threat that inefficient payment systems pose to the health companies. So that's the latest with CVS Health. An optimist could say, oh, it's just 1% of the company losing their job. But then someone else could say, well, 2,900 people at one time is way too much. And I don't think you can break down people's livelihoods to just a percentage of the overall population of the organization. So let me know what you think about this. Have you worked at CVS in the past? Do you currently work there? Are you maybe a little bit nervous after seeing CVS lose 5,000 jobs last year and planning to eliminate another 2,900 jobs in the future? I'd love to talk about it down in the comments below. Talk to you later.